Hello, you absolute legends. What I'd like to talk about are some anatomical and physics reasons of why you need a pair of weightlifting shoes. Many people watch guys from West Side squat in Chucks or canvas shoes and emulate those. You know, the strongest men in history that have ever walked the earth, they know what they're doing. But if you're learning how to lift and want to get strong, you need a pair of shoes. You need a high quality pair of shoes. Let's talk about some of the physics and anatomy of why you need a pair of shoes. The anatomy stuff, note two things about the foot. Note that it has a lot of bones in there, and those bones are covered by a very thin layer of muscle, sinew, and skin. So when the weight is on the back and pressing down through the femur into the shank, into the calcaneus, that energy is going to be transferred in the bones, and that energy is going to want to splay the bones to the side. So thankfully there's ligaments, sinew, and skin to do that, but the material of the shoe upper should also aid in that. So a good shoe should not be made of canvas or any type of knitted material, because knitted material will stretch. The upper should be made of animal hide or of some sort of polymer that's non-stretchable. In that same vein of anatomical reason is why there are the metatarsal straps on the top of the shoe, just to aid in that support. The shoelaces, when you cinch them up, they also compress in there, but the metatarsal straps aid in that right there. So the upper should be of animal hide or a non-elastic material, and at least 1, 2, or even 3 metatarsal straps. 3 is just kind of nice. When one breaks, you still got some backups right there, but three's a lot. I mean, this is Adidas, so I think 3 with the 3 stripes right there. Another anatomical reason of using a shoe, as that weight is transferred down, the heel or the foot, our feet sometimes roll left and right, which is when you turn an ankle. So there are structural features on the inside of the shoe that help the heel from rolling. The insole of a shoe usually has high walls on the heel. So the foot sits in there and has high walls. This can provide proprioceptive feedback immediately. Just if your foot is inside of there and you're rolling the heel left to right, you will feel the edge of that shoe, the edge of that insole, and get that proprioceptive feedback. And it'll also just help keep everything cinched in right here. So that's another anatomical reason of why you should get a pair of shoes, to help keep the bones all in one place. Do not squat barefoot. If you're squatting barefoot, I don't know how heavy it is, but for heavy weight, you need a good, durable pair of shoes. Some physics reasons of why you need a pair of shoes. Physics is my business. The heel is kind of an anatomical position as well right here. Let's discuss the heel height. The heel is not used so you can gain depth in the squat. If you can only squat to depth with a heel, you need to get a coach, because you don't know how to squat to depth. Most people should be able to squat to depth within flat shoes. There's nothing crazy about that. So why do we have the heel? When the heel is elevated in the bottom of the squat position, that does give a more forward incline to the shank, and therefore puts the gravity vector more into the thigh and not into the knee. Now, when the gravity vector passes that thigh, it cuts it in half. At the bottom of a squat, this is about the bottom of a squat here. I am just trying to get this angle here, just approximate, okay? I'm not don't bother about the torso or anything. At the bottom of the squat here, the gravity vector will cut through the thigh, okay? Now, how much cuts through here and how much it cuts through here is a qualitative way to get an idea of how much hip or knee contribution the lift is doing here. With a flatter foot, with a higher heel, would have the knee more inclined, so that gravity vector cuts in there, more knee is being used in the lift there. So that is why we have a heel on lifter shoes. It does aid in getting more of the quad into the lift because of how it inclines the forward angle of the shank, has the knee angle more closed, has the hip angle more open. This is how a heel works here down the line. Now, These lifters here, I have had these heels shaved down. These heels were very high, and I was very toe heavy squatting in them. I actually blame a lot of squat technique based on how high these heels were right here. These heels were very high to get into the snatch position. The snatch position is probably the lowest position I'm ever going to get into. I'm not going back to India anytime soon. In the snatch position, the knees are very far forward. The hips are low to the ground. So that's why this had such a high heel, but this has since been shaved down right here. So the heel, the material, and the metatarsal straps are anatomical, physics reasons of why you need a shoe. The non-compressible sole is one of the bigger physics reasons of why. And also, I should say slippage too. The bottom and sole of the shoe is totally flat and designed to be used against a rubber matted floor. It is not treaded or cleated because it's not meant to be worn outside. This is just a very much general safety and security down here. So that is one physics reason, just high static friction coefficient. Another physics reason, the non-compressible sole. It is amazing how much soles compress when you are lifting 200, 300, 400 pounds on your back. Video your shoe right up close as you step out. It's amazing how much that depression there. When that sole is compressing there, you have to either put force into that sole so that way you get it back to be able to push the weight up there. Any force used in compressing this material is force wasted. This pair of Nikes has a sole insert, and this sole insert is actually really stiff as well, and this is very stiff as well here. This Adidas insole this insole is shaped really well, but it's actually a lot softer and cushier than you think it was. It's thinner, so it's more flexible. This is, again, an Olympic lifting thing. In a jerk, in a jerk, the rear foot will come up on the heel and stuff like that. So I think that's why this is a little flexible. I think this is why this shoe is more flexible in the toe. So because of those Olympic lifts, this one is not as flexible in the toe. It's still flexible enough, right? But it's also a much thicker sole and also very, very non-compressible. I mean, I can press into it a little bit, but I think I'm really just pressing in to that little bit of cushion right there. That kind of just that fabric that touches the sock there. So what I've tried to outline here are some anatomical reasons and also some physics reasons of why you need to invest in a solid pair of shoes. If you are still not convinced to buy a pair of shoes, then I ask you about what is a variety of squat that you are not doing. And if you are not buying shoes, then one squat variation you're not doing is shoed squats. Maybe it's something you need to do. I hope this helps. Thank you.